Rubio.
And he's back on the main
he's
stage.
back on the main stage. Now, you would have thought that Chris Christie is done. You would have thought with Bridgegate, done. He falls off the main stage into the kiddie table. He somehow comes back just in time, but just in time to hurt. Yes, but just in time to hurt Rubio. Rubio needs this moment to shine on national security. He needs to be able to say, look, I'm your guy. You've got now Chris Christie back from the dead to step on him with national security, and he's also got a ground game in New Hampshire. Rubio's got a problem. Because if he loses, and he will lose in Iowa, and he cannot perform well in New Hampshire because of Christie, where does this guy go?
So he's got to win.
He's got to.
But he also, against Hillary Clinton, by the way, he matches up the best against Hillary Clinton.
Well, that's why. Well, look, Democrats are terrified of Rubio. My point is that Rubio must have been very happy to see Chris Christie fall off the main stage. He must be very sad to see him crawl back on. Chris Christie only causes problems for Rubio.
No, the problem is causes problems for Kasich and for Jeb Bush.
But they're gone.
All of them,
they're dead.
all of them are eating out of the same bowl in New Hampshire, and I think at some point you're going to see some Republicans call for some unity if we start seeing that Trump might be.
You still have the dynamic of the outsiders here. That's what the real message is, I think. Donald Trump and Ted Cruz is by no means.
You know, the brilliance of this man is that he somehow got the whole world saying outsiders and insiders. Not extremists, which is what your guy is, versus moderates, but outsiders and insiders. And we've all fallen into that. Trump is not an outsider. He's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. He's an extremist. He's a demagogue. And they say, Obama's terrible because he won't say Islamic radicalism, whatever. We're terrible because we won't call a demagogue a demagogue. Your guy's a demagogue.
Trump was a member of the establishment.
Barack Obama's a demagogue.
But
I realize there are people who think Barack Obama's a demagogue.
I think the dynamic with Cruz on this outsider-insider is very interesting because he can lay claim to being an outsider despite the fact that he's an insider. The guy's been in government jobs for decades now. And yeah, he goes to Washington, and yeah, I think almost every other senator.
Do you see Trump going after Cruz tomorrow and calling him a little bit of an idiot on that stage?
I think he's smarter than that, and if he's been watching, and he does, if he's been watching TV today or listening to radio, he knows that his attack on Cruz on the Maniac issue fell flat. He's gotten some attacks from Rush Limbaugh. He's gotten some attacks from Mark Levin, giants on the right-wing conservative media. So I think he's got to tread carefully because he's been very effective in the attacks that he's laid on Jeb Bush, on Marco Rubio, on practically everybody else. But the right-wing base likes Ted Cruz a lot, and he's got a lot of credibility.
I don't think it'll stop him. I think Donald Trump will still go after Ted Cruz. I think he'll do it early. I think he'll do it often. And I think that Cruz will not respond in kind. He'll have a one-liner up his sleeve and be dismissive of Trump.
But you know, Cruz has real support, to Mike's point. Cruz has real support among Tea Party voters, evangelicals, libertarians.
And even among those who support Carson, say their second choice would be Cruz.
In Iowa, if you look at people's first and second choice, Cruz has 51%. Okay, so very, very important in Iowa. So if Trump attacks Cruz frontally, he stands to kind of
lose. But does Iowa matter? I mean, it didn't matter for Huckabee, it didn't matter for Santorum.
Well,
you know what?
it does.
I think that the debate itself doesn't play into Trump's game plan. He understands he can take a half a step back, and he's going to be fine. He'll do his bit on social media. He'll pick up the phone and get on any Sunday talk show that he wants without having to show up. I mean, he has something that's different than any other candidate. I think if they're sitting in the back room, they're probably giving advice. You just take it. You don't have to be head on. Have a good couple of one-liners.
Part of the reason why Iowa didn't matter for Huckabee is because Huckabee had no money after Iowa. I would argue that Iowa did matter for Santorum. This is a guy who had practically nothing going for him and lasted till the very end. Ended up being the guy going one-on-one with Mitt Romney.
Cruz being able to win in Iowa is massive. It's a game changer. It does. He goes from being somebody who was kind of down there in the kiddie league. Now you got a lot of people saying he might be the presumptive winner because he is. Trump has made him look more reasonable. Before he was, look, Cruz is so lucky. On his national security stuff, in terms of surveillance, Rand Paul makes him look more reasonable. On his bluster, his right-wing posturing, Trump makes Cruz look more reasonable. So Cruz is being benefited by having a Rand Paul, by having a Trump. Cruz, it's his night.
And Cruz seems all along to have just been waiting for Trump to fade someone. I mean, at the beginning, it seems like Cruz was playing a long war. He had a long vision.
You know, he spent a lot of his August in the South, in those Super Tuesday states. After being in Vegas, he's going to go back down to the South. He has an organization throughout the South. So in a way, while he's Obama 3.0 with technology, he's also running an old-fashioned campaign. So